Love doesn't always announce itself with grand gestures or dramatic words. Most of the time, it moves quietly, hiding in small behaviors, subtle shifts in energy, and moments we barely notice unless we're paying attention. People often believe that if someone misses you, they will call, text, or show it openly. But psychology tells a different story. Some of the deepest emotions are expressed in silence, not because they are weak, but because they're carefully protected. There are people who carry their feelings inward. They feel deeply, think often, and miss quietly. They don't want to disturb your peace. They don't want to seem vulnerable. And sometimes, they don't even fully understand their own emotions. So instead of reaching out, they observe. Instead of speaking, they remember. Instead of confessing, they feel. Missing someone isn't always about sadness. Sometimes it shows up as restlessness, late-night thoughts, or a sudden sense that something is incomplete. It can appear during stressful moments, when the mind searches for comfort, or during silence, when distractions fade and emotions rise to the surface. These feelings are often unspoken, but they are very real. Psychology explains that when someone leaves an emotional imprint on us, the brain doesn't simply let go. It holds on through memory, comparison, and emotional association. The person becomes part of our inner world. Even without contact, they influence how we feel, how we react, and how we see others. This is why someone can miss you deeply without ever saying a word. In today's world, silence is often misunderstood. We assume that no message means no feeling, that distance means disinterest. But many people stay quiet not because they don't care, but because they care too much. Fear of rejection, emotional pride, timing, or unresolved situations can all keep someone from expressing what they feel. This video isn't about false hope or imagined signs. It's about understanding human behavior and emotional patterns that psychology has studied for years. The signs you're about to hear aren't loud or obvious. They are subtle, human, and deeply emotional. They happen when someone misses you more than they are ready to admit, even to themselves. As you listen, stay open. Some signs may feel familiar. Some may surprise you. And some may quietly confirm what your intuition has already been telling you. Because sometimes, the heart speaks most clearly when it speaks in silence. 1. They think about you during quiet moments. Quiet moments are where the truth usually lives. When the world slows down, late at night, early morning, or during pauses between responsibilities, the mind naturally drifts toward what matters most. If someone consistently thinks about you during these silent gaps, it's not accidental. Psychology suggests that the brain fills empty space with emotionally significant people, not random thoughts. In stillness, there are no distractions to hide behind, no noise to escape feelings. If you appear in their mind during these moments, it means you occupy a deep emotional place. They may replay your voice, imagine conversations that never happened, or simply feel your presence without knowing why. This kind of thinking isn't forced. It arrives gently, uninvited, and stays longer than expected. Often, they don't even label it as missing you. It shows up as a sudden heaviness, a soft ache, or a calm warmth mixed with longing. They might sigh, pause, or feel emotionally distracted without understanding the cause. That's because emotions surface most honestly when the mind is quiet. Missing someone loudly is easy. Missing someone silently, in moments of stillness, is deeper. It means your absence has become part of their inner world. Even without contact, you remain emotionally present, especially when everything else fades away. 2. They notice your absence immediately. Noticing someone's absence is more powerful than noticing their presence. Presence can become routine, but absence creates contrast. If someone feels the shift the moment you're gone, emotionally or physically, it means you become part of their normal emotional environment. Your energy, attention, or way of being has quietly integrated into their life. Psychologically, this happens when the brain associates comfort, safety, or emotional regulation with a specific person. When that person disappears, even briefly, the mind senses imbalance. They may feel unsettled, distracted, or slightly anxious without knowing why. Something feels off, even if nothing obvious has changed. They might catch themselves checking their phone more often, replaying recent interactions, or wondering what you're doing. Small routines feel emptier. Conversations feel flatter. This isn't dependency, it's emotional attachment. You become a reference point, and without you, their emotional rhythm shifts. What makes this sign silent is that they rarely say anything. They don't complain. They don't ask for attention. They simply feel the gap. And gaps created by emotionally important people are always noticeable, even when no words are spoken. 3. They revisit old conversations. Revisiting old conversations is one of the clearest signs of quiet missing. When someone rereads messages, remembers specific phrases, or replays moments you shared, they're not living in the past. They're emotionally reconnecting. Psychology shows that memory recall is often used to recreate emotional closeness when physical or emotional distance exists. They may remember how you responded, the tone you used, or how a certain moment made them feel understood. These memories act like emotional anchors. When they miss you, the mind pulls from stored experiences to temporarily feel connected again. This isn't nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. It's longing. The brain is trying to soothe itself by revisiting moments where it felt safe, seen, or emotionally alive. Sometimes they smile at these memories. Other times, they feel a quiet sadness. Both reactions point to the same truth: you mattered. They don't need new conversations to feel you. The old ones still carry emotional weight. And as long as they keep returning to those moments, it means you're not just remembered. You're emotionally missed, deeply and silently. 4. They check your social media without interacting. When someone checks your social media quietly, without liking, commenting, or reacting, it's often a sign of emotional restraint, not indifference. Psychology explains that people who miss someone deeply but feel uncertain, vulnerable, or afraid of exposure choose distance over visibility. Watching silently feels safer than engaging openly. They want to know how you're doing. They notice your mood through your posts, your activity patterns, even what you don't share. A simple photo, a story, or a status update becomes a way for them to stay emotionally connected without crossing a line they are not ready to cross. It's a quiet form of presence. This behavior usually comes with inner conflict. Part of them wants to reach out. Another part fears rejection, awkwardness, or reopening emotions they're trying to manage. So they compromise by staying close from a distance. Psychologically, this is called passive attachment behavior, where emotional bonds exist without direct interaction. They may tell themselves they are just scrolling, but your profile is never accidental. It's intentional curiosity mixed with longing. The silence isn't lack of feeling. It's proof that the feeling is strong enough to be handled carefully. 5. They remember small details about you. Remembering small details is one of the most intimate psychological signs of emotional attachment. Details like how you take your coffee, a random story you told once, or something you worried about casually. These aren't stored by accident. The brain prioritizes information connected to emotional significance. When someone misses you, these details surface unexpectedly. They hear a song you mentioned, see something that reminds them of you, or recall a moment you probably don't even remember sharing. This happens because emotional memory is stronger than logical memory. What touched them stayed. Remembering details also means they were truly present with you. They listen not just to respond, but to understand. And now, in your absence, those details become reminders of connection. Each one carries emotional weight. Psychologically, this kind of memory recall is linked to attachment and affection. The mind protects what it values. So if they still remember the little things, long after moments have passed, it means you were never just a passing presence. You became part of their emotional landscape. 6. They feel restless without knowing why. Restlessness without a clear reason is often emotional displacement. When someone misses you but hasn't consciously accepted it, the emotion looks for another outlet. It shows up as unease, distraction, irritability, or a feeling that something is missing, even when life seems fine on the surface. Psychology explains this as unresolved emotional attachment. The body feels the absence before the mind names it. They may feel bored easily, unable to focus, or emotionally unsettled. Nothing feels quite satisfying, and they don't know what they're searching for. Often, this restlessness intensifies at night or during idle moments. That's when suppressed emotions surface. The mind tries to reconnect with what brought emotional balance, and that's when thoughts of you quietly appear. They might blame stress, routine, or tiredness, but the feeling persists. Because it's not situational, it's emotional. Missing someone doesn't always feel like sadness. Sometimes it feels like restlessness, a subtle inner pull towards someone who once brought calm. 7. They compare others to you. When someone quietly misses you, comparison happens without intention. Psychology shows that the mind uses emotionally significant people as reference points. So when they meet new people or interact with others, traits you had, your kindness, your humor, the way you listened, become the unspoken standard. They may not consciously think, this person isn't you, but the feeling appears anyway. Conversations feel less natural. Energy feels different. Something doesn't quite align. That's because emotional memory sets benchmarks, and yours left a deep imprint. Comparing isn't about idealizing you. It's about attachment. The brain remembers how it felt around you and looks for that emotional familiarity elsewhere. When it can't find it, your absence becomes more noticeable. This is why they struggle to fully connect with others. You're not competing with people, you're influencing perception. And when someone keeps measuring experiences against the way they felt with you, it means you're still emotionally present, even when you're not physically there. 8. They bring you up in unrelated conversations. Mentioning you casually in conversations that have nothing to do with you is a subtle but powerful sign of missing someone. Psychology calls this spontaneous emotional recall. When someone occupies the mind, they naturally slip into speech without effort or planning. They might reference something you said, a habit you had, or a situation that reminds them of you, often without realizing they are doing it. To others, it seems random. To the subconscious, it makes perfect sense. This happens because talking about you creates emotional relief. It allows them to feel connected, even briefly. Your name or presence carries familiarity and comfort, so the mind reaches for it naturally. They are not trying to impress anyone or send a message. It's simply that you've become woven into their mental narrative. When someone keeps bringing you up, even indirectly, it's a sign that you're still active in their emotional world. 9. They feel a sudden urge to reach out. The sudden urge to reach out often arrives quietly and unexpectedly. A random moment, a simple memory, or a feeling of vulnerability triggers the desire to reconnect. Psychology suggests this happens when emotional bonds remain unresolved. They may open your chat, type a message, then delete it. Or they pause, wondering if reaching out would make things better or worse. This inner conflict is common when missing someone deeply but fearing rejection, awkwardness, or emotional exposure. The urge itself is the sign. It means you still represent comfort, understanding, or emotional safety. In moments of stress or emotional honesty, the mind reaches for what once felt grounding. Even if they never send the message, the feeling doesn't disappear. Because missing someone isn't about action, it's about emotional pull. And when that pull keeps returning, it means your connection still matters, quietly and deeply. 10. They get emotional at night. Nighttime lowers emotional defenses. When the world becomes quiet and distractions fade, suppressed feelings naturally rise to the surface. Psychology explains that the brain processes unresolved emotions more intensely at night, especially those tied to attachment and loss. If someone gets emotional after dark, it often means they are thinking about someone they miss but don't openly express during the day. At night, there's no performance, no business, no masks. That's when memories replay more vividly. Your voice, your presence, the way you made them feel understood or safe. Even small reminders can trigger a wave of emotion. A song, a thought, or silence itself becomes enough. They may feel a tightness in their chest, a sudden heaviness, or an unexpected sadness. Sometimes it's not even sadness, just longing mixed with calm reflection. Night turns emotions inward, and missing someone becomes more honest there. If you appear in their thoughts when everything is still, it means your emotional imprint is strong. Daytime distractions can hide feelings. Nighttime reveals them. 11. They miss you more during stressful times. Stress strips people down to emotional essentials. When life becomes overwhelming, the mind instinctively reaches for what once provided comfort, reassurance, or emotional grounding. Psychology shows that attachment figures become more prominent during stress because they represent safety and regulation. If someone misses you more when they're under pressure, it means you were a source of emotional balance for them. You made things feel manageable. Your presence softened their stress, even if you never realized it. During difficult moments, they might wonder what you would say, how you would respond, or how things felt when you were around. This isn't weakness. It's emotional memory guiding them toward stability. Missing someone during stress is deeply revealing. It shows who mattered when life felt heavy. And if your absence is felt most during hard times, it means your presence once made things lighter. 12. They feel your energy even when you're apart. Feeling someone's energy isn't mystical. It's psychological and emotional. When a bond is strong, the brain creates internal representations of that person. Their presence becomes emotionally accessible, even in absence. Psychology refers to this as emotional attunement. They may think of you suddenly, feel calm or unsettled without knowing why, or sense comfort during moments when they wish you were there. Your influence remains, not through contact, but through emotional memory. This happens when connection goes beyond surface interaction. You affected how they felt about themselves, not just how they felt around you. That kind of impact doesn't disappear easily. Even apart, your emotional footprint remains active. And when someone feels your presence without seeing or speaking to you, it's a sign that the bond hasn't faded. It's simply gone quiet. 13. They protect their feelings around you. When someone protects their feelings around you, it's often because those feelings run deeper than they are willing to admit. Psychology suggests that emotional guarding happens when vulnerability feels risky. They care enough to fear exposure. So instead of expressing everything they feel, they hold back, choosing control over honesty. They may act calmer than they truly are, limit emotional conversations, or keep interactions light even when there's clearly more beneath the surface. This isn't emotional distance. It's emotional self-preservation. Being around you stays something strong, and they don't trust themselves to handle it openly. Protecting feelings also means protecting the connection. They don't want to say the wrong thing, seem too eager, or reveal how much you matter. Silence becomes a shield. Restraint becomes a way to stay close without risking emotional loss. When someone is careful with their emotions around you, it's usually because you have the power to affect them deeply. And people only guard what truly matters to them. 14. They find comfort in memories of you. Memories become emotional safe spaces when someone is missed deeply. Psychology explains that recalling positive interactions releases the same calming chemicals as real connection, even in absence. When they think of you, the nervous system softens. They feel steadier, calmer, less alone. They may replay moments you shared during difficult times or when they need reassurance. Your laugh, your words, or the way you made them feel understood becomes a source of emotional warmth. These memories aren't just remembered, they are felt. Comfort in memory means you once provided emotional security. And that kind of impact doesn't fade with distance or time. It lingers quietly, waiting to be revisited. If your memory brings them peace rather than pain, it means the bond was meaningful. You weren't just part of their past. You became part of their emotional coping system. 15. They hope you're thinking of them too. Hope is the quietest sign of missing someone. When someone wonders if you think about them too, it means the connection still feels unfinished. Psychology links this to emotional reciprocity, the desire to be held in someone else's inner world the way they hold you in theirs. They may imagine you remembering them randomly, feeling the same pull, or sensing the same emotional connection. This hope isn't desperate. It's gentle. It lives in silence, not action. Hoping you think of them is about emotional validation. It's the wish that what they felt wasn't one-sided, that the bond still exists, even quietly, on both ends. And when someone carries that hope, it means you still matter. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply, where emotions are most real.